The first signs were subtle, faint ripples of light across the sky, like a painter had smudged the stars into strange new patterns. Then came the sounds, deep, almost musical vibrations that hummed through the cities and deserts alike. No one knew exactly what they were at first. Scientists scrambled to understand them. Politicians muttered warnings. Ordinary people stared up at the night sky with wide, trembling eyes. In a quiet coastal town called Luma Bay, a young woman named Ilara stood on the edge of the cliff staring at the horizon. Her hair whipped in the wind, tangled and bright under the moonlight. She didn't understand the science behind the vibrations, nor the charts that flashed on the news. All she felt was a rising, uncanny awareness. Something vast was coming, something not of this world, and then it appeared. A shadow larger than any cloud, moving with terrifying grace, blotted out the stars. Ships, or perhaps they were alive, she could not tell, descended into the atmosphere. Their surfaces shimmered like molten glass, reflecting the lights of Earth in strange, distorted patterns. People screamed, cars abandoned on highways, and every military radar in the world lit up like a Christmas tree gone mad. World governments issued warnings, but humanity was unprepared. The invaders did not communicate. They did not negotiate. They claimed the sky like it was already theirs. Cities burned, oceans churned, mountains trembled. The universe had come to claim Earth as a prize, and humanity was nothing more than an obstacle. But somewhere deep within humanity's collective memory, something stirred. Something that had been waiting, hidden beneath the layers of fear, doubt, and destruction. The first human strike against the invaders came not from missiles or lasers, but from courage. Pilots like Kai, a quiet man who had spent years mapping the stars from a small observatory, took to the skies in old, fragile jets, aiming at craft that seemed invincible. His squadron was laughed at, called foolish, doomed. Yet in that desperate moment, something unexplainable happened. The invaders hesitated. Ilara watched from the cliffs as Kai's jet vanished into the light of an alien ship. There was no explosion, no smoke. Then the ship shuddered as if it had hit a wall it could not see. The pilots of the other jets reported the same. Their weapons passed through shields that should have been impervious. And yet, the invaders faltered. And that's when the whispers began. On the radio, through hacked frequencies across social media, people heard the same words. The Phantom Navy is awake. No one knew what it meant. Some thought it a myth, a morale tactic. But as the days passed, ships, ancient, hidden, and unaccounted for, began to rise from the oceans, appearing in places where humans had no knowledge they existed. Sleek vessels, black as obsidian, yet brimming with power. And yet no one on Earth claimed ownership. It was as if the ocean itself had remembered humanity's ancient strength and decided to fight. Ilara felt her heart tighten. The fear that had gripped her gave way to something else. Hope. Hope sharp and electric like lightning across the waves. Somewhere humanity had a secret. Somewhere humanity had a phantom shield against the impossible. The first battle was not long in coming. The invaders, sensing resistance, unleashed a swarm of ships against the Atlantic fleet. Waves rose higher than buildings as unknown forces clashed. But the Phantom Navy, unseen yet precise, struck from beneath, crippling the alien vessels before they could reach the coastlines. Entire fleets vanished without a trace, leaving only silence and awe. For the first time, humans whispered of victory. But victory, Ilara realized, was only the beginning. The universe had noticed Earth, and whatever had awakened in response, whatever hidden guardians now sailed the depths and skies, it had a plan, and humanity would have to understand it quickly, or be erased from the stars entirely. As she turned from the cliffs, wind tearing through her hair, she saw Kai standing at the pier, shaken but alive. They didn't speak. Words weren't needed. The world had changed in a night. Humanity had revealed its first ghostly weapon, and the universe was about to fight back. The stars above seemed quieter now, waiting, watching, and somewhere, deep in the blackness of space, an alien mind pulsed with curiosity and with fear. The morning after the first battle, the world felt different. The sky still shimmered with alien light, but it was no longer only fear that pulsed through human hearts. There was awe. There was possibility. Humanity had survived. Somehow the Phantom Navy had intervened. Ilara walked along the shattered pier at Luma Bay. Salt clung to her skin, and the scent of burned fuel hung heavy in the air. Kai stood beside her, silent, staring at the horizon where strange silhouettes drifted beneath the waves. He finally spoke in a low voice. "They're real," he said. "Not myths, not legends, real. And they're ours somehow." Alara nodded. She didn't know how to explain it either. Ships that no one had ever catalogued, appearing like ghosts to strike invaders with surgical precision. No crew had been seen. No communication had come. Only results, silence, victory. Scientists scrambled to analyze the ships. Ancient satellite data hinted at deep hidden structures, vast tunnels beneath the ocean floor, abandoned shipyards buried beneath the ice, and hints of designs centuries beyond modern engineering. And yet, despite every hypothesis, no one could determine who built them or how they remained dormant for so long. Humanity had always believed the ocean was a limit, a barrier. Now it was a secret armory, awakening just when it was most needed. The aliens, however, were not deterred. From the depths of space, massive dreadnoughts maneuvered with terrifying grace, their weapons arcing arcs of plasma that could melt steel in seconds. Entire cities were evacuated as orbital strikes flattened familiar landscapes. Panic returned, but it was tempered by determination. Alara and Kai joined a hastily assembled command council on a floating carrier in the North Atlantic. Leaders from every nation argued, their voices frantic. "We need to negotiate," shouted one. "We can't fight them," said another. But a quiet, commanding presence held the room in silence. Admiral Soren, an old man whose eyes had seen more wars than most could imagine. "We don't negotiate," he said simply. "We survive, we endure, and we fight, and now we have weapons the universe never expected." From beneath the waves, the Phantom Navy stirred again. One by one, ships rose like shadows, black and angular, reflecting nothing, absorbing the chaos around them. They moved with a precision that no human hand could replicate. And when they struck, the aliens flinched, not in fear exactly, but in recognition. The invaders were learning quickly that Earth's defenders were not conventional. Alara felt her pulse quicken. She watched a fleet emerge from the mist, their surfaces slick with dark energy, bristling with weapons that hummed like living things. Ghostly tendrils of light reached outward, latching onto alien hulls, immobilizing them, and then vanishing without a trace. Entire squadrons of invaders were gone before they realized what had struck. Kai's voice trembled. "It's like they know what we need before we even do." "Not before," Alara whispered, staring into the black, reflective hulls. "With us, with humanity. They are humanity." And then the first contact came. Not through radio, not through voice, but in visions, flickers of thought and emotion that each human present felt without words. The Navy's consciousness reached out. It was patient, calculating, ancient, and it was awake now because humanity was in peril. But it was not just a weapon. It was a sentinel, a teacher. It carried knowledge of strategy, of tactics, of history older than any human memory, and it demanded something in return: faith, courage, and unity. Humans could not command it, could not own it. They could only fight alongside it, guided by its will. The first coordinated strike was planned immediately. Alien dreadnoughts gathered near the Caribbean, preparing a strike on major coastal cities. Human fleets engaged, tentative at first, while the Phantom Navy moved beneath them unseen. And then precision, deadly and breathtaking. Alien vessels were disabled one by one. Explosions were silent in the depths, yet their impact radiated across orbiting satellites. The humans cheered, relief washing over them, but Alara noticed something in the eyes of Kai and Soren. Unease. For every victory, there was a cost. Entire fleets of human ships had been lost to the aliens' unpredictable weaponry. Thousands of lives vanished in moments of brilliance and terror, and yet the Phantom Navy endured, patient, inexorable, teaching humanity how to survive. Alara touched the hull of a ship that had risen from the ocean just behind them. It vibrated softly, almost alive, and she felt it whisper through her mind. "Prepare, the universe is vast, and it remembers us now." Somewhere above, the alien dreadnoughts regrouped. They did not understand the full power of Earth's hidden forces, nor the bond forming between humanity and its spectral guardians. But they would soon learn. The oceans roared in defiance as dawn crept over the horizon. Smoke and mist mingled, painting the sky in hues of gray and blood. Humanity had survived, but survival was a fragile thread stretched thin across the globe. Cities were half standing, Communication lines flickered, and the fear in every human heart was palpable. Yet despite the devastation, the Phantom Navy remained, a ghostly, unwavering presence beneath the waves, guiding the desperate. Alara stood aboard the carrier's observation deck, staring at the horizon where tendrils of alien ships writhed like living things. Her hands shook, not from fear, but from the weight of responsibility. They were not soldiers in this war. They were witnesses, and now more than ever, she understood that the battle would demand more than courage. It would demand humanity itself. Kai approached, carrying a data tablet that pulsed with urgent information. "They've regrouped," he said quietly, "near the equatorial belt. Estimates suggest 5 of their dreadnoughts are moving together, coordinating attacks on population centers and naval bases." Ilara's eyes narrowed. "And the Phantom Navy?" "They're preparing," Kai replied. "But this is different. It's not just about striking. They're teaching us. Every maneuver, every engagement, they want us to understand the rhythm of the fight." Admiral Soren appeared beside them, his weathered face betraying more concern than he usually allowed. "This is the first reckoning," he said. "The universe isn't just testing our ships. It's testing our hearts, our resolve, and our choices. Victory will come, yes, but only if we are willing to sacrifice, to endure, and to believe in each other." Belief was the hardest weapon of all. Alara thought of the families torn apart, the cities reduced to ruins, and the millions who had vanished in the first wave of attacks. Humanity's spirit had endured centuries of conflict, yet now it faced a war that stretched beyond comprehension. Fear gnawed at the edges of courage. Doubt shadowed every decision. And then the first strike began. The alien dreadnoughts moved like predators, their weapons arcing in silent arcs of annihilation. Humanity's fleets responded with everything they had. But conventional tactics failed. Missiles vaporized in midair. Lasers were deflected. Ships that should have been S.H.I.E.L.D.'s strongest point were shredded in seconds. And yet the Phantom Navy, appearing from beneath, struck with precision that seemed impossible. Entire squadrons vanished, immobilized, and disappeared without a trace. In the chaos, Ilara felt a wave of emotion that was almost physical. Hope, fear, sorrow, and determination collided inside her. The Navy was powerful, yes, but it was not invincible. Every strike exacted a cost. Entire cities were destroyed before the Navy could intervene. Every victory carried the weight of human lives lost. Kai shouted over the comms, his voice trembling. "Alara, look at the pattern. They're not just attacking, they're learning from us. The aliens adapt faster than we anticipated." Ilara's mind raced. She realized then what the Phantom Navy had been trying to teach all along. This war was not just about firepower. It was about resilience, adaptability, and the indomitable will to survive. Humanity could not rely solely on ghostly ships. They had to fight, think, and endure as one. The first human command attempts, guided by the Navy, began to turn the tide. Pilots learned to anticipate the enemy's maneuvers. Fleets coordinated strikes using intuition as much as strategy, and in the midst of destruction, small victories emerged. Villages saved, supply lines protected, alien scouts neutralized before they could strike. Yet, the psychological toll was immense. Every survivor carried a shadow of guilt, mourning those who had perished in vain. Every human felt the cold brush of mortality against the warmth of hope. Some whispered that perhaps the Phantom Navy was not just a savior, but a test, a reckoning of human character itself. Alara turned to Kai and Admiral Soren, her voice steady despite the turmoil. "We endure," she said, "not because we have the Navy, not because we have weapons, but because we refuse to let fear decide who we are. The universe may have come for us, but we are still humanity, and we fight with every part of ourselves." Soren nodded, a rare smile breaking through his stern demeanor. "Then let this be our first reckoning. Not the end, but a lesson. The universe will remember Earth now. It will know we are more than fragile bodies and fleeting lives. We are unbroken, unpredictable, and unyielding." From beneath the waves, the Navy pulsed. Its presence was a quiet affirmation. Humanity could endure. Humanity could rise. And humanity, in the vast, infinite dark, was no longer alone. Somewhere, in the far reaches of space, alien minds calculated and recalculated, sensing the rising strength of Earth's defenders. For the first time, doubt entered their cold logic. For the first time, fear brushed against their perception. And for the first time, The universe realized that humans, small and seemingly insignificant, could not be conquered easily. Ilara clenched her fists as she watched the alien fleet retreat, regrouping. The first reckoning had ended, but the war had only just begun. And humanity with its phantom navy was ready. The sky above Earth was no longer the comforting black sprinkled with stars. It had become a theater of war, a tapestry of light and shadow where humanity's courage was tested against incomprehensible forces. Cities flickered like dying embers, yet from oceans and hidden shipyards, the phantom navy glided, patient, precise, and relentless. Ilara and Kai moved through the command deck of the carrier, surrounded by blinking consoles and the low hum of anxious operators. Reports from every hemisphere streamed in. Alien forces were reorganizing faster than expected, employing tactics that suggested intelligence deeper than brute strength. They didn't just attack. They anticipated, adapted, and probed for weakness. Every encounter feels like a chess game we didn't know we were playing, Kai muttered, rubbing his temples. They're learning us, watching us, adjusting. Admiral Soren, leaning against a console, gave a low, steady laugh. Good, let them. They'll find we're full of surprises. That's the human way. His eyes were sharp, scanning the holographic projection of the solar system above them. But this is different. They're sending specialists, thinkers, not just ships. Ilara frowned. Specialists? Yes, Soren said. Entities designed to test our limits, to probe for weaknesses beyond weapons, our minds, our morale, our unity. The Navy can protect us from firepower, but it can't shield us from ourselves. And the first encounter with these specialists arrived in the form of shadows. Not literal shadows, but constructs that warped light and gravity around them. Ships would vanish from sensors only to reappear in impossible positions, striking with precise force. Entire fleets reported panic, as if the universe itself had turned against them. Ilara's heart thudded as she watched the destruction from the observation deck. Civilians and military alike trembled, but the Navy moved beneath the waves and within the void above them, responding in ways no human hand could orchestrate. Its movements were deliberate, almost sentient, weaving through chaos like threads of thought made manifest. In the midst of despair, a revelation came. Ilara felt it first as a whisper, subtle yet insistent. Images of ancient ships buried beneath ice caps and deep trenches, dormant for centuries, waiting for humanity's call. She realized the Phantom Navy was not a weapon created for this war. It was a memory, a legacy of Earth itself, awoken because the planet and its people had reached a threshold. Kai noticed her pause and asked, "What is it?" Ilara shook her head, the weight of understanding settling. It's not just fighting for us, it's remembering with us. Every battle, every strategy, it's tied to who we are and what we've been capable of. The fleet received an urgent signal from deep space. Alien dreadnoughts were converging near the outer belt of the solar system. But there was a twist. They weren't moving to attack. They were regrouping, as though preparing for something beyond Earth's orbit, a strike at the very planets around the sun, perhaps even the solar system itself. Admiral Soren's face darkened. They've learned that Earth alone is resilient. So now they aim higher. They want to remove the neighborhood, the stage we live on. They'll test the ecosystem of our civilization itself. Human ingenuity surged in response. Space-based missile platforms were activated. Shielded supply convoys maneuvered, and scientists worked around the clock to adapt alien technology recovered from the Phantom Navy's strikes. Humanity learned quickly, too quickly for any race to anticipate. Every tactic employed by the aliens was countered with human unpredictability, creativity, and courage. Ilara and Kai were dispatched on a reconnaissance mission into the shadow of an alien construct that had hovered near Saturn. Their small vessel, almost invisible, moved like a whisper through the void. Inside the construct, reality itself seemed to bend. Light refracted oddly. Sounds were delayed or distorted. And yet, in the center of this alien labyrinth, they glimpsed the source of the invaders' strategy. Crystalline cores pulsing with intelligence, capable of simulating centuries of war in moments. They're calculating us, Kai whispered, awestruck. Every choice, every emotion. They're mapping it. Ilara's voice was steady, filled with a quiet determination. Then we will show them that humanity cannot be calculated. That our spirit is something no algorithm can predict. The return to Earth was tense. As they emerged from the shadows, the Phantom Navy met them in the upper atmosphere, almost as if acknowledging their understanding. Ilara felt it again, the quiet hum in her mind, a promise. We fight together, we endure. We will show them what humanity truly is. Above the oceans, the alien dreadnoughts paused. The shadows of the cosmos were vast and dangerous, but the humans, with their phantom allies, had begun to turn uncertainty into strategy, despair into hope, and as Earth braced for the next wave, one thing became clear. The universe had underestimated not just the Navy, not just humanity, but the bond between the two. The war had spread across the stars, but now humanity had a secret force, and the cosmos was about to learn that humans, when united with their phantom legacy, were a storm that could not be ignored. The world had grown quiet in some places, but in the silence hearts beat faster than ever. Humanity had survived impossible assaults, yet every victory carried shadows of loss. Cities remained scarred, oceans churned with unnatural currents, and the skies bore the scars of alien strikes. But amid the ruins, humans still fought not merely for survival, but for the soul of their species. Ilara stood among a group of civilian volunteers in the remnants of what had once been New Alexandria, a coastal city now half submerged by the alien bombardments. She watched a young boy, no older than 10, balancing a makeshift drone on his shoulder, eyes wide with determination. "If I can help them see, maybe they'll strike in the right places," he said, pointing to the horizon where the Phantom Navy's dark silhouettes hovered like guardians. Kai placed a steady hand on her shoulder. "They're learning too," he said quietly. "Every person, every choice, it matters. We're not just fighting the invaders. We're proving that humanity can adapt even when it's on the edge." Admiral Soren's voice echoed over the comms. "This is what I call the heart of resistance. Not just fleets or weapons, but courage, hope, and ingenuity. We survive because we fight together, and fight they did. From the scorched streets of ruined cities to the frozen deserts, humans sabotaged alien supply lines, repurposed captured tech, and coordinated with the Phantom Navy to strike with precision. Every act of bravery, every sacrifice rippled across the planet like a current of defiance. Yet the cost was relentless. Entire units vanished in moments of brilliance, and families mourned loved ones they barely knew. Ilara had begun to keep a small notebook, writing names of those lost lest they be forgotten in the chaos. Each name carried weight, a reminder that victory required remembrance as much as courage. Kai returned from a reconnaissance flight, visibly shaken. "They're preparing something," he said, his voice tight. "A wave unlike anything we've faced. Near the orbit of Mars, they're concentrating power, and it's massive." Ilara's heart sank. The war was no longer confined to Earth. Humanity's reach had extended to the stars, yet their enemies had done the same. The Phantom Navy, powerful though it was, could not be everywhere at once. The burden of survival weighed on human shoulders as heavily as the alien threat. Amid the preparation, a human story emerged that would define the spirit of resistance. A young engineer named Leora, stranded on the northern ice shelf, had rigged a series of automated pulse cannons to intercept alien drones. Alone, freezing and facing the collapse of the platform beneath her, she remained calm, guided only by instinct and determination. When the attack came, her ingenuity saved thousands, turning a wave of destruction into a calculated victory. Ilara thought of Leora, of the boy with the drone, and countless others, ordinary humans achieving extraordinary feats. They were proof that the heart of resistance was not in ships or weapons, but in resilience, creativity, and unwavering spirit. Night fell over the battered Earth. Cities glowed faintly, fires burning where structures had failed. In the skies, alien dreadnoughts regrouped, their movements precise as if sensing the pulse of human ingenuity. Yet below, humans continued to fight, plan, and adapt. Kai approached Ilara as they watched the distant horizon. "Do you think we can win this?" he asked, his voice tinged with doubt. Ilara shook her head slowly. "I don't think winning is the point anymore. Survival isn't enough. The universe came for us, but we're showing it something else. That humanity can endure, that we can rise again and again, even in the face of impossible odds. That's our victory." A soft vibration passed through the water, a subtle hum beneath the surface. The Phantom Navy was near, gliding silently, acknowledging humanity's efforts. It was not just a weapon. It was a mirror of the human spirit, echoing courage and determination in the face of the cosmos. And somewhere, in the void between planets, alien minds calculated and recalculated, struggling to comprehend what they had encountered. Humanity's resistance was not predictable. It was not logical. It was a storm of emotion, ingenuity, and willpower. Ilara closed her eyes and breathed in the cold, salty air. She felt hope, sharp and bright, cutting through despair. Humanity had been tested and scarred, yet the heart of resistance beat stronger than ever. Every loss, every triumph, every small act of defiance had built something unstoppable. The Phantom Navy waited silently, ready to guide and protect. And humanity, with courage, ingenuity, and resilience, prepared to meet the next wave, not as victims, but as fighters, as survivors, as legends in the making. The universe had come for Earth, but Earth and its people would not yield. The silence of space was deceptive. Beyond the familiar orbit of Mars, alien fleets gathered like dark storms on the edge of a calm sky. For the first time, humanity could see the full scale of the threat. Not just Earth, but the entire solar system was at risk. Dreadnoughts the size of cities hovered in formation, pulsing with energy that warped the light around them. Their intent was unmistakable. The universe itself would bend, or humanity would be erased. Ilara stood on the bridge of the flagship Aegis, her eyes scanning the holographic projection of incoming fleets. Around her, commanders from every nation worked in tense harmony, coordinating strategy, while Kai recalibrated sensors to anticipate alien maneuvers. Every human present felt the weight of what was about to happen. "They're concentrating everything they have," Kai said, voice tight. "If this wave hits, Earth won't survive without the Navy, and even then, we'll be tested like never before." Admiral Soren's expression was grim. "This is the cosmic reckoning. The universe is watching, and it doesn't tolerate weakness. But we have something they don't: adaptability, ingenuity, the will to endure." The Phantom Navy surged from the depths and the skies simultaneously, black vessels shimmering with an energy that seemed alive. They were no longer hidden or subtle. The Navy moved with deliberate force, guiding human fleets with precision that bordered on omniscience. Every strike, every maneuver was choreographed as if Earth itself had become a single, living organism. The first engagement was a maelstrom of fire and motion. Alien dreadnoughts unleashed waves of plasma, tearing through empty space with devastating power. Human ships darted between strikes, fragile and desperate, relying on intuition and the Navy's guidance. The battle became more than tactics. It became a test of human resilience, a symphony of courage under impossible pressure. Ilara felt the hum of the Navy again, a presence in her mind, calm and commanding. "Do not falter. We fight together. Humanity is not theirs to erase." From the alien ranks emerged a new terror. Constructs of shadow and crystal, designed to absorb energy, analyze strategy, and counter every human maneuver. Entire squadrons vanished in seconds, devoured by devices no human could fully comprehend. Panic threatened to spread, but Ilara and Kai held steady. Every human pilot, every fleet commander, felt the invisible guidance of the Navy pulsing through the battle, transforming fear into clarity, chaos into coordinated action. In a daring maneuver, humans and Navy vessels worked in tandem to split the alien forces. The Navy struck from unexpected angles, disabling key dreadnoughts, while human squadrons exploited the gaps, launching attacks with ingenuity and precision. Each victory was narrow, costly, and yet undeniably human. Every life saved reinforced the fragile thread of hope, but victory demanded sacrifice. Entire fleets of human vessels were lost to cover retreats. Kai watched as friends, colleagues, and civilians he had sworn to protect were consumed in flashes of alien fire. Ilara felt grief and rage pulse together, transforming into resolve. Humanity could not falter now. Not when the universe had chosen this moment to test them. Above, alien command centers pulsed with uncertainty. The humans were unpredictable, their strategies chaotic yet effective. And then, the Phantom Navy revealed its most astonishing power. A network of energy currents linking vessels across the solar system, amplifying human coordination beyond any known limits. Alien minds recoiled, unable to fully comprehend the unity forming on Earth and in its skies. Ilara realized then what they had become. Not merely survivors, not merely fighters, but a force the universe had never anticipated. Humans, guided by their spectral allies, had transformed desperation into precision, fear into resilience, and chaos into a weapon no algorithm could predict. As the alien fleets began a slow, uneasy withdrawal, Alara stood at the bridge rail, wind from artificial gravity brushing her face. The phantom navy pulsed beneath and above, a silent guardian and witness. Humanity had faced the cosmic reckoning and endured. Kai joined her, eyes reflecting both sorrow and triumph. "We've won, for now." Alara shook her head, the weight of the moment heavy but invigorating. "Not won. We've survived, and the universe knows that Earth does not yield, that humans are more than they imagined." Somewhere far beyond the outer planets, alien minds recalculated, their confidence shaken. Earth had endured. Humans had fought not just with weapons, but with spirit, ingenuity, and unbreakable will. The Phantom Navy had awakened, yes, but it was humanity itself that had made the impossible real. And the stars, silent witnesses to the struggle, seemed to shimmer a little brighter that night, as if honoring the resilience of a small, unyielding species that had dared to defy the universe itself. The battle-scarred Earth breathed beneath a sky alive with remnants of war. Fires still burned in scattered cities. Oceans swelled with unnatural waves. The scars of the alien assault stretched across continents like the reminders of a trial humanity had endured. Yet amid the ruin, a quiet pulse emerged, a rhythm of life, resilience, and hope that could not be extinguished. Alara stood atop a cliff overlooking the Atlantic, the wind whipping her hair as she gazed at the horizon. Beneath the waves, the Phantom Navy rested, silhouettes dark and silent against the shifting tides. Above, the alien remnants had retreated into deep space, wary and uncertain, but not yet defeated. Humanity had survived, but the cost had been immense. Kai approached quietly, carrying a small device that had intercepted alien communications. "They're retreating," he said. "They're scared. They've never faced resistance like this, not from a species they considered insignificant." Alara smiled faintly, a mixture of exhaustion and triumph. "We're not insignificant," she said, "and we never have been. The universe has learned that tonight." Admiral Soren appeared behind them, his presence as steady and commanding as ever. "We've survived because humanity does not yield," he said. "Because we fight not for power, not for conquest, but for each other. Every life saved, every act of courage has shaped this victory. The Phantom Navy is strong, yes, but it is humanity that gave it purpose." And then the Navy stirred. Ships rose from the depths, glinting under the sun's first rays, their black hulls reflecting humanity's resilience back to the world. They moved in patterns that seemed almost ceremonial, a silent acknowledgement of the bond between human and guardian. Alara felt it again, the gentle hum in her mind, the Navy reaching out, connecting with her, with Kai, with the countless souls who had fought and endured. "We have awakened together," it whispered. "Humanity is no longer alone. Humanity is remembered. Humanity is the storm that defies the cosmos." In the following days, humanity began to rebuild, not just cities and fleets, but confidence, ingenuity, and unity. The scars of war became reminders of endurance. Scientists and engineers, inspired by the Navy's mysterious technology, accelerated innovations in energy, navigation, and defense. A new generation of pilots, guided by the lessons of survival, trained not for conquest, but for vigilance and courage. Yet the true awakening was not in machines or fleets. It was in the hearts of people. Children played among ruins with laughter that cut through despair. Communities rebuilt together, transcending borders that had once divided them. Humanity realized that the power to endure, to inspire, and to rise again was never in weapons or alien allies. It was in their spirit. Kai stood beside Alara as they watched a phantom vessel glide along the horizon, disappearing slowly into the blue depths. "Do you think they'll return?" he asked. Alara's gaze was steady, filled with the quiet certainty of experience. "Perhaps, but we are no longer the same. We've fought the universe and endured. We are humanity, and the stars will remember us, not as prey, but as a force that refuses to be erased." Admiral Soren, joining them one last time, placed a hand on Alara's shoulder. "The universe has seen what we are capable of, and now it will watch carefully. Our story has begun, not ended. Humanity has awakened." Far above, in the silent reaches of space, alien minds recalculated, their arrogance tempered by the lesson of resilience. The invaders would not forget Earth. The universe would not underestimate humanity again. For in the quiet aftermath of the storm, one truth echoed through the stars. Humans, small yet unyielding, could rise from annihilation and shape their destiny. Ilara turned to Kai, a spark of determination lighting her eyes. "We fought for survival," she said softly, "but now we fight for the future. For every life, for every dream, for Earth." And as the sun broke fully over the horizon, illuminating oceans and shattered cities alike, a wave of quiet strength pulsed across the planet. Humanity had faced the impossible, endured the unthinkable, and emerged transformed. The Phantom Navy had awakened, but humanity had awakened first, and it would never sleep again. The universe had come for Earth, but Earth and its people had risen. And from that day forward, every star, every planet, every shadow of the cosmos would know that humanity was not just a species. It was a force of unbreakable spirit.